It pleases my Lord. My Lord, I begin by apologizing for the earlier day on the insistence for hearing late hour. Very sorry.
Sorry?
I insisted for a hearing on the last date of hearing when it was very late, and I'm very sorry for that.
Yes,
Realized my mistake only later. Very sorry.
Yes.
My Lord, if I may begin, my Lord, I have filed that note which your Lordship wanted by email. This is the matter related. I'll just give a brief factual context to my Lord before I start that. Because there are many petitions which were there before the High Court. Now, one group of petitions were relating to challenge to the Agnipath scheme. That is a completely separate topic. This set of petitioners has not challenged it. Now, there is some confusion if my lords have read the impugned order or even the counter affidavits of the union. Some issues are mixed up and some words are used interchangeably, which causes confusion. So, I'll set the brief factual matrix in just 1 minute. The Army and the Air Force and the Navy, they hire persons below officer rank. There are officers, then there are junior commissioned officers, and there are soldiers. PBOR. So these persons below officer rank are recruited in different modes. The Indian Navy is not concerned with this petition. And although the impugned order does say that comparing Navy with the Air Force and Army doesn't make sense, which is right. We are not getting into that. The limited question is that first there is a physical test for the office below officer rank, not a direct exam. First there is a physical test. Then when you clear the physical test, you are tested for your basic merit and a list is prepared. That exam for the Army is called the Common Entrance Exam. The Air Force is a separate thing. They have a thing called STAR, Scheduled Test for Airmen Recruitment.
You are dealing only with the Army here.
I am dealing with both Army and the Scheduled Test for Airmen Recruitment. Now, what has happened is that the CE was postponed multiple times from 2021, and your lordships have been holding constantly for UPSC, GATE, CLAT, NEET, that you can't postpone the exam. There are many petitions before your lordships. So the Union of India is trying to say that it was because of COVID, but the numbers were not large like a recruitment. It is the final test stage. And in their affidavit, they say it's 250 students per center. And it is in the cantonment center with the control of the Army, which can very well operate on standard operating procedures. So for the Indian government, they postponed the exam so many times.
The first test was held.
The first test is a physical phase. They go and run in a rally.
Right.
That is shortlisted from that and taken to a medical test. Once they cleared that, they given admit cards for the common entrance exam. They all got the admit cards and they're waiting to give the exam. Now, online, the Union of India publishes that it's postponed due to COVID. Happens in 21, my lords are aware, in April, May 21, unfortunately, we saw a big wave. So at that point of time, nobody realized that it may be some other thing. Then again, it was postponed. Then again, it was postponed. Yes, at that point of time, some students could have moved the court, saying our exam is being held unnecessarily. But these are pretty poor kids. These are not people with much means and resources. So they could not approach the court at that point of time. And then the exam is never held. Till date, the exam has not been cancelled. Postponed. Then in June of 2022, Agnipath is announced. That is when people draw the conclusion now this exam will never be held. It has never been told, to the best of my knowledge, that it has never been cancelled, that because of Agnipath we are cancelling it. But during the arguments in the High Court, it was submitted that because we thought of Agnipath in 2021, my lords, which is announced in 2022, because we thought of this in 2021, we decided to postpone by an unwritten decision. That is an argument of convenience. The government cannot, by an unwritten decision, anyways postpone something. And if it was on their minds, then the question comes, why are you telling the students repeatedly to apply, to wait?
So essentially, the process which had begun earlier,
yes,
the only stage that it had crossed was the physical test had been held and the medical test had been held. After that, the entrance test was never
not held. For the Army, it was not held.
And thereafter, when the new scheme came into force, they decided not to go ahead with this at all.
They have not said anything.
They said that before the High Court.
Yeah, in the High Court, they said that
before the High
For
Court.
the students, it has never been told.
But there is no vested right, ultimately.
I'll come to that. The vested right is the biggest hurdle I have to cross. I'll come to that. Before that, coming to the Air Force, my lord. In the Air Force, what has happened? The recruiting branches. It's a rolling recruitment from PORs. So in case of the Air Force, what happened? For the group which is called Star 1 of 2022, it's the intake number and year number, 1 of 2022, the results were never declared. The results were never declared. Now, this the High Court has rendered a finding. The union has not said anything on the counter affidavit.
So in the Air Force, the exam was held.
Exam was held, and
but ultimately results were not declared.
Yes.
But in both cases, before the before the letters of appointment could be.
Yes, my lord.
They withdrew, they decided not to
My
proceed.
lord, my lord. There's one more category. Now there's one more category, which is this was one of 2022. Result withheld, no reasons given till date. There's nothing on counter affidavit even. There's another group which is previous to that, 1 of 21. Now in that group, it has been renamed as 2 of 21. And 2 of 2021 is renamed 1 of 21. And they are made to join the later recruits. But the original 1 of 2021, which is renamed as 2 of 2021, for that group, the provisional select list is published after the exams. The Union of India says in counter affidavit that this provisional select list was published in a ratio of 1:1.25. That means for every 125 names, 100 are likely to be selected. Yes, it's not a guaranteed list. Yes, it had an expiry date. But the question is, what made it cross the expiry date? Because you announce the results, then you decide to take no steps on the basis which came out in the course of arguments that because in the thinking of Agnipath, we chose to do it in an unbeaten manner. The question is not whether the union government is right. The government may or may not be right. But is this the manner? That's the point on which I wish to show judgments. I'll show the judgments, my lord. One is judgment. In fact, the High Court has quoted a long line of judgments about no vested right.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't intervene. I'm on KPI, but on facts, my learned colleague is not correct, my lords. The High Court has dealt with those specific submissions. What happened was, my lords, there were two kinds of recruitments that happened for the Airforce. One was through, my lords, star recruitments, that is star of 2021, star of 2022, that my colleague is. Second was, my lords, through rallies. Now, rallies, it was easy to hold. They could now, those exams, my lords, they had to my lords, thousands of we have given those charts, those indications are all there. All that was considered. So those kind of exams got stalled, and rallies which were held with 200 people, my lords, those recruitments carried on. So, my lords, and after a point, my lords, when the Agnipath was on the horizon, then everything stopped. So that is what the High Court, my lords, extensively looked at charts we provided, my lords. And in our additional affidavit, my colleague has filed that additional affidavit in the SLP, but without the annexures. Annexures are those charts, and if I can show to you, Lordships, how the High Court considers that star argument. Lordships will kindly have para 84, specifically on the star examination. So, factually, he is wrong in saying that it's not considered by High Court.
Let's see that.
He's trying to confine her.
That para 88 especially.
Page 52, my lords.
Page 52, right?
Kindly start from para 83. Similarly for Airforce.
You don't have the best.
What were you referring to?
Malas, I'm placing para 83 at page 52. Similarly for Airforce 2, due to delay in recruitment through examination mode, star rallies were conducted at various places in the country to cater to the intake of Airforce. The rallies for recruitment in Airforce were conducted between January, February of 2020 and September, December of.
Actually, you can read from para 81, I think,
Please, Malas, I'll place para 81. With respect to the army, so Malas, there's some overlapping. What happened was we could carry out the rallies because Malas, these are rallies across the country. So Malas, wherever the local authorities had Malas, isolation areas or zones, the exams could not take place because exams had to necessarily take place in closed rooms.
Let's quickly run through these two paras. That's the crux of the matter.
Para 81. With respect to Indian Army, the rally recruitment was undertaken to increase intake of people from tribal and hilly areas in the armed forces so as to maintain a demographic balance. Rallies were conducted at various locations in the country to recruit young people in the armed forces. A chart detailing recruitment rallies conducted from army recruitment offices has been submitted by Franco. Shows that the recruitment rallies during COVID pandemic were conducted in Ludhiana at Swensu, at Lansam, at Swensu, at Silchar, Agartala.
Then we'll skip that sentence. The said chart for this shows
that out of 47 rallies that were to be conducted, only 4 could be conducted between December and January of 2021, as compared to about 80 rallies that were conducted throughout the year and pre-pandemic. As explained by the PSG, the method of recruitment of soldiers by way of written exam and method of recruitment of soldiers by way of rallies were different, and the time taken in both the processes was also different. When the rallies are a fast-track method of recruitment, the regular mode of recruitment was multi-pronged and took longer, especially during the pandemic. By the time the normal recruitment process in the army was concluded, government had taken the policy decision to bring in the new Agnipath scheme. Hence, due to these marked differences in rally recruitment and erstwhile method of recruitment, contention of petitioners that the normal method of recruitment for examinations must be concluded does not hold water. In any event, it cannot be said that government ought not to have recruited any candidate other than through CEE, as the same would result in massive shortage of soldiers in the Indian Army. Article 14 cannot be invoked to state that soldiers must have been recruited by both the processes, that is by CEE and the conducting rallies. Appointing soldiers only through one of the sources violative of Article 14. I'm grateful, Manoj, your lordship permitted me to place these because this is the same logic that continues for Airforce.
Now we'll read para 84, 85, I think, for the Air Force.
85, Manoj, your lordship. One of the charts is reproduced here, but we had given charts for each of the recruitment methods. And I'm carrying that. I'm carrying the annexures to the additional affidavit. From perusal of the above chart, it appears that by the time results were published on 31st May 21, Agnipath scheme was already on the horizon. Akin to Indian Army, by this time the rally recruitment, which is a shorter method to maintain the demographic balance, had already been concluded. Hence, much like the Indian Army too, the petitioner claim appointment simply because their counterparts have been recruited by way of rallies. Further, it is apposite to state that no one prevented the petitioners from participating in the rallies and gaining employment in either Indian Army or Indian Air Force.
Yes.
Then, my lords, 87 also lordship will permit me to place.
Yeah.
Scheme
You had no vested right for the
I
continuation.
will address that, my lord, but before one small clarification, rally is not for 250 people, rally is for 3,000 to 6,000 candidates.
Anyway,
I'll
the
come
point of the matter is that those people came in. Now we are not going to displace those people who are
Not at all, not at all. There's no, we are not asking for any
who
displacement.
were all people who were to come in through the regular process, the normal process of, and they had cancelled it, or they didn't proceed ahead with it because of the fact that by then the Agnipath scheme had intervened. There is no vested right until a letter of
Absolutely no
appointment is
vested
given.
right.
Equally, you're right that the government can't just say we are not going to continue with this
Right.
process. It's not, in somebody's, unbridled discretion. But in view of these facts, the High Court says
arbitrary.
it's
My
not
lord,
an
let me just
arbitrary
make
act.
some judgments. I mean, it's
May
okay
I,
for us.
Lord, may I just,
Let him complete.
Acha,
and then-
very well.
Yes.
May I will hand over these judgments. I'm only on vested right because that is the only stumbling block really. Otherwise, what has happened is shocking. They themselves saying the judgment itself says it was on the horizon in 2021. Therefore, they decided to do something when they announced it in 2022.
All right, which
I'm
is,
showing only this
the
judgment, my lord.
para you want us to
Para 14 to 17, my lord, if I may take my lord there. It is at page number 684, my lord.
Exactly what I said. Yet the state does not enjoy an unqualified prerogative to refuse an appointment
Yes, my lord.
in an arbitrary fashion.
In an arbitrary fashion. That is the point here. It is so arbitrary that the students are waiting and you're telling them the exam is postponed. Today you tell in court that, oh, we decided Agnipath, so doesn't matter. And if kids are given
Not a
recruitment,
case for our
it
interest.
will make no difference to the Agnipath scheme. The Agnipath scheme will continue. If these kids are recruited even today, it will make no difference because the union says it will take 15-20 years for Agnipath scheme to show some effect.
Say, learned counsel appearing on behalf of the
Lord,
petitioner.
may I address your lordship before your lordship passes the order? Because I have a similar matter, which your lordship had, in fact, I had mentioned it on the 6th, your lordship had directed it to be listed today, but it was numbered on
Yes.
Saturday,
What
but
is
was
it?
not listed.
Tell us, Mr. Bush.
This is regarding the Air Force recruitments. Now, in our case, what happened was, these are regular recruitments. The process started in 2019. There was a written exam. Thereafter, there was a physical test. Thereafter, there was medical exam. Everything was done. Thereafter, a provisional select list was published, showing the ranks, etc. It was all published. Thereafter, my lord, for more than 1 year, every 3 months, they kept saying the appointment letters are going to be issued, they are being postponed due to COVID, etc. Appointment letters are just going to be issued, however, they are being postponed. 4 times they said that. In the meantime, they did what is called rally recruitments for the same posts, which were what they call fast track recruitments. They claimed that they were for addressing the demographic balance to recruit tribal people, etc. And that those rally recruitments happened after they say that they had already thought of the Agnipath scheme. So therefore, if the Agnipath scheme was a reason not to go ahead for any further recruitment, because these rally recruitments was precisely for our posts. The only difference is rally recruitments were done in one day. In our case, we went through the whole process.
You are persons who were part of the select list, is it?
Yes.
No, which
select
year?
list
1
was
minute.
published.
Which year is the select list?
2021 it was published. And thereafter, my lord, we kept-
What is the term of the select list?
Provisional.
When was to expire? With a
when
more-
was it?
If in the select list, if it is select list is to be maintained for how long?
That they didn't say.
No, it only a select list can't be unending.
6 months.
They said appointment letters will be issued shortly. Now, in the meantime, Lord, these people, many of them got jobs. That's totally the High Court order. I had specifically placed all that material. They got jobs in BSF and various other paramilitary organizations. They refused those jobs because they were being told again and again that your name is in the select list, your appointment letter will just be issued, it's been postponed due to COVID. They didn't say it's being postponed due to this Agnipath scheme that we are considering. Meanwhile, my lord, they went ahead with fast track recruitments for the same post and thousands of them, and not to address demographic balance because the recruitments are not in tribal areas. They are in Jaipur, they are in Jabalpur, etc., etc. So therefore, my lord, there are three issues that we raised. First issue was promissory estoppel. You have told me, you have published my select list after a 3-year process or more than 2-year process. You have repeatedly told me that your appointment letters are going to be issued, they are being delayed due to COVID. In the meantime, my lord, I lose, I am selected. I forego my appointment in the paramilitary forces. And they go ahead with rally recruitments for the same post, not for demographic balance, which is wrongly stated by the government. I will demonstrate that. But they go ahead with these fast track recruitments for the same post, and then they deny us. Lord, just imagine the plight of these people. 3 years they have waited, gone through everything.
All right, we'll hear Ms. Bhatti on Mr. Bhushan's petition.
Yes, my lords, your lordships will kindly have, permit us to give the annexures. I'll show to your lordship from the chart.
Just 1 second.
Your Lordship, Your Lordship,
This petition also there are.
Yes, Ms. Bhatti.
Your Lordship,
First, your
May-
lordship.
1 second, Mr. Sharma. Yes.
Your lordships may note, my lords, para 73, 74 and 78 of the impugned order deals with it. But permit me to show from the charts, my lords, exactly how there is a lot of, my lords, argument. This was made before the High Court also with regard to, my lords, that we had done pick and choose. What we had done, my lords, the action affidavit that we filed for the High Court, on your record, but without the electures. The affidavit is there as an Annexure P7 at page 183.
Now, what do you want to
I'm
show us?
chart. I have para 17 of this one. This is where the Airforce chart starts.
Yes.
I have my Airforce along with timeline.
Yes.
So, my lords, your lordships will see these are activities for intake prior to the COVID, just to give a comparison. So, my lords, there is a star intake 1 and
Yes.
there is a star intake 1 and there is a star intake 2, my lords. So 2 star intakes take place. This is just to give your lordships the mechanism. Then your lordships will see the first chart at page 17 itself, candidates enrolled from the star, that's in bold, 3195. Then the activities for second star starts, and we've given that data also. Page 19 is the next recruitment, my lords. This is recruitment also again prior to the period. Just to give, my lords, that we have given these recruitments take place. And your lordships will see that foot of page 20. The lordships will see each year. So about, for example, at foot of page, total recruitment to star exams is about 4,500. That is the last line at page 20, Mala. And 3 lines before that, candidates enrolled from rally intake, that is about 700. So this is the usual mechanism that follows about this 700-800 rally, about 4,500 odd star intakes. Now please come to page 21. This is the recruitment that became problematic. We started with star intake 1 of 2020. This is for intake of 2021. So this fell within the COVID period. And initially, this was planned for 3770 enrollment vacancies. Your lordship will see on the right side are remarks. Written exam was planned in 260 centers across 75 cities. Please see the enrollments. 4,44,888 candidates have enrolled for that. Then, the conduct of the exam was to take place from 19th March to 23rd March. That fell within the outbreak of the COVID, so we had to stall this. Then, we postponed it first. Then we postponed it and then we cancelled it. That will see the September 2020. Because of the uncertainty of COVID, we cancelled this exam and we converted into star 2 of the same year. We do star 1 and star 2, 2 intakes. So we converted the star 1 into star 2 because we could not carry out star 1 at all and we cancelled star 2 altogether. Then we shifted this and finally we proposed to have this exam in October of 2020. Then finally the exam takes place. Please see how many candidates appear. Exam takes place in November of 2024.
Where do we get that? Where do we get that?
Then on the same page at 2020, on the chart, somewhere in the middle of the chart, start online exam phase 1. This is a date of 4th November to 8th November 2020. Am I with my lords?
Yes.
295,000.
So finally, we were able to hold this exam that was meant for my lords March in the first week of November, between 4th and 8th of November. 295,000 candidates participated in this. Then we see the whole process took place and a number of candidates in the provisional select list. That is the second last column on this chart.
10,810.
Yes. So the petitioners for your lordships are either in or the exams.
Right.
And then this select comes on the 1st of May 2021 and enrollment is held on in July 2021. And then this is the rally intakes. Please see how we were able to. On the first chart, 2022 is the 6 rallies that we had planned. That the initial plan, which was for demographic balance. That your lordships are kindly just know 6 rallies planned for intake for 831 vacancies, completed physical test, written test, etc. And then 651 total enrolled in that. Or just skip the rest of the table. There is no controversy here. The second chart your lordships will see. Please permit me to read this heading. Total 11 special pre-registered rallies planned exigencies of indefinite delay in star 1 2020 conducted from September 20 to December 20 for 3770 vacancies and completed permission was given only for calling up to 200 candidates for each rally. So these are the special rallies that we had to conduct. It came, but the defense of the country cannot be put on a peg. It has to go on. So the exigencies of service required us to modulate the recruitment in this manner that we held these 11 special rallies with these extraordinary conditions. And everyone was, and we had a pre-registered. So other rallies are open to all. You can just walk into a rally and you can participate in the rally. This was pre-registered, so we could maintain that 200 per person rally. And it was open to everyone to participate. Right. And we see the timeline here. My lords will see that the timeline of these rallies is September 2020.
Yes.
Please correlate this with the timeline of that other star exam. That star exam we were only able to hold from 4th and 8th of November 2020. And these rallies we were able to hold, my lords, in September, starting from 3rd September.
Yes.
So, my lords, we've given details of all the rallies that we carried out, these 11 special rallies, all the recruitments that have taken place. And page 24, your lordships will see, my lords, this is what is the culmination of the data on the basis of these 11 special rallies. So, my lord, overall total comes to candidates who are enrolled from the previous test rally. My lord, your lordship put that question, what is the validity of the provisional select list? It's 6 months, my lord. But because of extraordinary conditions, we had to take the previous select list. Last year also, my lord, unexhausted we took. by extending it. So that is the first one, Malas, that candidates enrolled from Rollies of previous test cycle in intake 1 of 2021 extended PSL, 289 people, total enrolled from rallies, now in rallies of intake 1, that is 3830, total enrolled from leftover and intake 2 extended PSL 779. And then Malas, the enrollment list was published and these candidates were enrolled. So total candidates enrolled in intake 1 of 2021 is 4609. So Manoj, in this manner, recruitment has taken place during the COVID times. In our affidavit, we have explained, Manoj, if your lordship will permit me to show how we have explained in the affidavit, what was the constraints. Your lordships are also aware, Manoj, your lordships ran this institution during COVID times. We had to run on half of the staff, Manoj. Then if there was a COVID positive, it was isolated. There was all kinds of cleanliness, sanitization mechanisms that had to be brought in. These were extraordinary times that one of the institutions were grappling with. And in those extraordinary times, so Manoj, the process that the forces, the defense forces have carried out, it's not a process of pick and choose. We wanted to fill up these vacancies because we needed to fill these vacancies in the defense interest and the national interest. So it's not that we did not want to go ahead with one kind of exam. And now please see how the High Court deals with it at page para 73, 74 and 78, Manoj. Para 73 and 74, your lordship will find, Manoj, at page 41. In addition to these settled principles of law, material of record also weighs heavily against the petitioners. Instructions for candidates stated that candidates whose names appeared in the provisional select list are not guaranteed enrollment. No right was created in favor of the individuals in the provisional list. Also born from the fact that provisional list itself stated from the beginning that it was valid up to 31/11/21. Within the advertisement published, Airforce also said that the guidelines and orders issued by government from, as amended from time to time will apply to the selected candidates. There is another irreconcilable factor weighing against the petitioner in public interest. As has already been stated, the recruitment can be changed by the state midway if the same is in constitution. The stated objective of the scheme is to reduce the age of the armed forces. This will make the forces leaner, agile, and greatly beneficial for border security. Supervised by an experienced regular cadre having the age of 26. To achieve this goal, state has been consistently decreasing the age bracket of the officers as dealt with in the first part of the judgment. Such stated objectives of the government cannot be said to be arbitrary, whimsical, or malafide. They serve a definite public interest. Please now see para 78 on the specific argument that they had taken they had let go of other opportunities. Page 49, para 78. The petitioners have claimed that they have let go of other opportunities while awaiting the recruitment process to resume. It is their contention that due to this, they suffered on account of sudden change in policy initiated by the government. Hence, they claim that government, being bound by principles of promissory estoppel, will have to bring the recruitment process to its logical conclusion. This argument also does not find favor with this court. Firstly, there was no vested right in claiming appointment even after select list has been declared. And secondly, on account of larger...
Thank you, Ms. Bhatti. Yes. Yes, Mr.
Yes. If your lordship may just have the...
Mr. Bhushan, there is no vested right here. And the High Court has said that obviously the government can't act arbitrarily, but it's not really a decision which is weighed in by any extraneous circumstances or any arbitrary reasons.
I'm saying that it is arbitrary for several reasons, your lord. And not only arbitrary, it's also hit by promissory estoppel because though the provisional select list said that it does not guarantee...
Promissory estoppel is always subject to overarching public interest, which the High Court felt...
But overarching public interest has to be judged in the light of this. The government did go ahead.
One of the arguments was... Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Not a contract matter where promissory estoppel in public law was applied. It is a public employment. The question of applying this principle will not arise in this case.
But promissory estoppel is precisely
In
this
contract
principle.
matters.
That is,
And the argument was if the Navy could have continued it, why not the Army and the Air Force? That has also been dealt with in para 79 by the.
no, I'm saying that even in the Air Force, if your lordship just, so what I have pointed out is,
I think overall, Mr. Bhushan, nothing is really for us to interfere. There's no.
but Lord, your lordship will have to examine this, that here are several thousand people who for 3 years went through a rigorous process, four-part process of recruitment. Thereafter, they were told the letters to them were issued or on the websites, Lord, it was published on 6 occasions saying, thereafter, various statements were issued by the government on 10th July 21. Their provisional select list came out on 31st May 21. Thereafter, on 10th July 21, then on 1st December 21, then on 31st January 22, 31st March 22, 29th April 22, and 31st.
No, Mr. Bhushan will not interfere. Yes,
But
both matters. We are not.
But then your lordship will have to list my case and hear it.
No, we are now. We have heard you therefore.
No, Lord, then let me at least show the documents. Otherwise, we were selected. There's other jobs, BSF and various other paramilitary
That has been
organizations.
considered by the High Court.
We let go of that. We let go of that because Airforce is a preferred service. And the government had been just telling us they published the provisional select list. They were going ahead with rally. They went ahead with more than 4,000 people were recruited in these rally recruitments, which were these fast.
Like whatever is on board now, we'll take your matter up on 17, since it is a fresh.
Very well.
This matter we are dismissing. Your matter is. No, no. We have heard you. We are dismissing.
My petition number 4 and 5 are the same category as Mr.
That's all right. But we are dismissing. We have heard you.
That will follow.
Keep it on that.
That will follow. That will follow.
Lordship,
That.
keep it on that. Otherwise, what will
No,
happen?
no. This we are. We'll.
Same
Otherwise,
petition.
what
No,
will
sorry. No, that's all right. We are dismissing that. Yes.
Both the matters, 12 and 12.1.
No.
12.1
Yeah. 12.1 now. 12.1. Who's appearing?
Your Lordship. Your Lordship, ML Sharma. Your Lordship here.
Mr. Sharma.
Your Lordship, I got brain stroke and I'm not allowed even to discuss.
Mr.
go
Sharma, we
anywhere.
have heard Mr. Everybody. We have heard everybody. We are dismissing 12 and 12.1.
1 minute, Your
Yes.
Lordship.
You
I
want to
will
argue?
say
You can argue. You need not. Yes. Tell us what you
No,
have to say.
my subject matter is totally different. I am not concerned with any one of the point what has been filed and argued
Tell
by
us what
any
is your
other
point. Tell us what is your point.
Your Lordship, my point is this come, Your Lordship, if you can have my petition after 3 months or 4 months.
Mr. Sharma, please
I am
start.
I am under medical
Mr.
compulsion. Your
Sharma,
Lordship.
please start.
I
Yeah,
got
this is
brain-
the letter we
I
have read
got
out the
brain
entire-
attack. Your Lordship, I got brain attack. I am
Mr. Sharma,
seriously.
please continue. Argue. What is your point? Just make your point, Mr. Sharma.
Your Lordship, I cannot argue because I am under
What is your
brain
point?
attack.
What is your point, Mr. Sharma? You state the point. It has been fully argued, actually, even by Mr. Bhushan and the.
No, my point does not belong to Mr. Bhushan. My point does
Can you
not
tell
belong
us
to
what is your
anyone.
point, Mr. Sharma? What is your point?
Just to have page 59, Your Lordship,
Yes.
of my petition. 56, Your Lordship, not 59. 56, Your Lordship.
Yes.
That ground I given at page 1, para A.
H.
Ground para A, Your Lordship.
A.
Yes, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, this is the financial commitment and financial statement. I mean, sorry, Your Lordship, I am suffering, so I am.
Yes.
I
According
can.
to you, it should have been passed by Parliament. It could not have been brought in by as a scheme.
Your Lordship.
Yes.
Second one, because of it's a attract also Article 77 as well as Article 107 also, Your Lordship. And my question is simply only, unless until Parliament will not approve this one, it cannot be done, Your Lordship.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Yes.
Only one line.
12.12 and 12.1 we are dismissing.
One line I used to submit. May I submit one line?
Yeah.
All and I mean, Russia's hand of course. Only one petitioner number 5 in item 12 is in the same shoes as the petitioner.
They'll follow, that matter will follow this. Yes.
Item 30 supplementary is also
Yes, sir.
Yes, so now it's been rendered infructuous. The petition. 14.
14.
Yes.
Let's in an election question, the ratified the statement was forfeited because.
You say your advocate withdrew his appearance in 2020.
Let's,
What were you doing for 3 years in 2023?
2020 March.
What were you doing? You had to follow up with your advocate.
Let's,
You can't just sort of say that, well, I'm not doing it.
March
can I
20.
have a list of these dates for once?
Yes.
We have the
Is that Robert proceedings? Kindly see.
But you have a burden to follow up with your advocate. What are you doing?
But let's,
3rd March 2020 is the order.
March 2020, the order came to be passed.
No.
Thereafter, the matter was listed again for the court on 1st of January 2023.
Maybe so, but what were you doing in the meantime?
Let it is because there is no communication from the
Oh,
government regards this.
that's your.
You don't bother to communication with your lawyer,
By
then
now, even now, there is no issue that is coming up for the trial.
All right, 1 second. What do you have to say?
After this petition is dismissed, he participated. PW1, PW2 examined, he himself filed even affidavit. But before that, way back from 2020.
is delay in SLP also. SLP also not 4 days.
That
I think we limited that, Mr. Radha.
At least because the first order I'm questioning.
Thank you. Yes, dismiss. Thank you, dismiss.
Now it is only for the report.
We'll not interpret. We'll not interpret it. Yes. Delay, I don't know.
15.
Listener. My lord, this honorable court has directed the state of UP in the month of September
He
2022.
has not been released. No
Yes,
dismiss.
my lord.
Give a copy to Ms. Garima
years.
Prasad.
Years.
Lord, I have served the copy. My co-accused have been released, my
All
lord.
right, then counsel appearing on behalf of the petition submits that the order of this court dated 6 September 2022 has not been complied with. And though the petitioner has undergone over 25 years of actual imprisonment,
More than 30 years. Actually,
31 with remand,
yes, sir, almost 26 years.
almost 26 years of without remission, he has not been released, though the court is released. The petitioner the counsel for the petitioner is permitted to serve a copy of the petition on Ms. Garima Prasad, Learned AAG for the state of UP, right?
Please, my lord.
List on. We'll keep it after 2 weeks. Just give her a copy and we'll list it immediately.
My lord, in the meantime, maybe allow, sir, the copy because the my lord have
Yeah, that's it.
appointed Mr. Gaurav Agarwal